Hello, sir. Good evening, Prime Minister, sir.
How are you?
Very well. 58 days on the motorcycle. I'm still alive, so I must be good.
Well, I would like very much to salute you for the spirit of resistance and for what you are doing to save the soil of earth. This is not the first time that I see you. I have seen some of your videos, and I have realized that I am talking to an exceptional man who is a medical doctor in a way, and a sociologist, an environmentalist, but on top of all, a philosopher. So I congratulate you on what makes you, really, and I appreciate the wisdom that is enclaving your mind. This is something that is very important to us, and also it is not really strange for an Indian man to become a philosopher. That is where philosophy was born anyhow. It was not born in Greece. It was born maybe earlier than the Greek philosophers. But anyhow, so I wish you all the best and my full support. And I take your initiative seriously. And I should tell you one important thing. I was having, like 5-6 years ago, I was talking to an Indian a group of activists, and one word I kept using is that referring to Palestinians under occupation, that we are attached to our land. And I kept saying that we are the sons of the soil.
Yes.
And these settlers who come from Brooklyn and who come from other places, there is no way you can bring a plant from Siberia and plant it in Palestine. It does not work. We are the sons of the soil, and therefore we are the organic product of our soil and of our land. So it is good that you are reminding the whole the whole world of what does it mean to really preserve the soil as source of food for people, because you are 100% right. It is not the Ukraine crisis that is going, and the chain supply that is going to affect food supply. It is also that the earth will not be able to produce enough organic products, enough food for more than 7 billion people. So land is shrinking and people are growing. Soil is shrinking and people are growing. In our case, it is so sad to tell you that the aggressive settler colonialism has caused incredible damage to our environment. It is sad to tell you that 2.5 million trees have been uprooted by the Israeli settlers since 1967, when Palestine became under occupation. So that this is really something that's worth mentioning to you. And maybe I should also, I'm 100% in full support with what you called for. Change the narrative. I think it is very important that we don't only change narrative, but it is also important that we change mindsets, the way we perceive things. We should not take things for granted. A lot of people take things for granted. Food should be there. Drinking water is always available. It is not. We will face serious challenges on drinking water, on availability of soil, organic products. Human beings should not live on hormones or fruits or vegetables injected by hormones. You put a cucumber in the fridge and it keeps growing because it is full of hormones under humid conditions and so on. And also, my dear friend, maybe, when I was told that I will talk to you, I thought, okay, this man as a philosopher, also the issue for us is not only about soil and earth and so on. I should also bring to your attention very important issue, which is, the Dead Sea is, we have 38 kilometers of shores of the Dead Sea as Palestine. The rest on the east side is Jordan, and the other parts is the Israeli occupation side. You know, the Dead Sea will have no water at all. It will fully and totally dry up by 2044, according to estimates of experts. So we are really facing serious damages. Dead Sea, it means minerals, it means history, it means the lowest water point on earth, and so on and so forth. So this is also something that needs extra attention in your exercise and in your effort to really bring attention to what is happening in the world. Also, maybe last thing I should tell you, that we are fully engaged here in Palestine in land reclamation to avoid political desertification. What do I mean by that? Political desertification is the Israeli construction of Jewish settlements on the land, on fertile soil, on our mountains, on everywhere. And that is really damaging our environment and creating serious problem that land in Palestine is shrinking and the settlers are taking our source of livelihood. You know, and that's my last point to you, you know, Muslims in general, they believe in one thing, that God created a human being out of salsal. And salsal is actually something similar to clay, and clay is made of soil. So that, you know, if there will be no soil or enough soil, maybe human creatures will shrink also. But this is something that I will leave to your fertile mind to elaborate on that. I salute you and I respect your initiative and my full support of what is needed from the Palestinian side to support you. I'm ready to do that. So, all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to be talking to you. When we were passing through Palestine, we had about 5 to 6 hours. We thought we will engage with you or somebody in your government, but unfortunately we got stuck in the security for almost 6-7 hours. So it got late, and because of that we had to leave. Anyway, what I would like to say, sir, I know the political situations, whatever that is, geopolitical aspects, is not in my power to change that, but I would like to tell people of Palestine that whatever the political situation today may not be the same thing tomorrow, but the most important thing is we must keep our lands alive for future generations. Keeping it alive essentially means keeping the soil rich and alive, because politics will change, national boundaries will change, but the soil has to be alive, because that is a fundamental responsibility we hold for our children and future generations beyond them. So in this context, it is very important, the Palestinian soil, which has been feeding these people for thousands of years, and just a few decades ago, nearly 90% of your economy itself was agriculture. Unfortunately, it has shrunk now for whatever reasons. But the important thing is, no matter which nation we belong to, no matter what kind of strife or troubles we are going through, this is something we have to do as human beings, that we keep our soil alive, because soil is not our property. It's come to us from previous generations. We must pass it on as a living soil for future generations. You were talking about water, sir. I would like to tell you that right now, by somewhere between 2032 to 2035, it is expected 3.5 billion people will be water stressed. And this will lead to massive migrations. Over 1 billion people in the world could migrate because of water stress. 3.5 billion people without the needed water is a calamity that you cannot imagine, but that is just 10 years away from us. So turning the soil around is a fundamental responsibility. As you know, it's not in my this thing to give you any political advice, because you are in the thick of that, and I know Palestinian people have fought for so long for their rights. I hope that gets resolved. But whichever way, whatever our other conditions are, we must keep our soil alive, because that is where future life will come from.
Well, I mean, for sure. This is something, I mean, that you took the initiative. I'm sure that you will receive support from everybody people who do really care about, I mean, the way you're handling it is not an environmental issue. The way you're handling it is also a source of living, a source of income and survival. I mean, you're talking about a survival of humanity, and therefore this is something that should be of an international orchestrated effort. And I think the attention you are drawing by covering 70,000 kilometers of travel here and there to bring attention of people, I think we appreciate that, we support that, but maybe we need more than, a foundation like yours. And I think you need an orchestrated effort. United Nations should adopt this sort of thing. And people are going to Stockholm in June, early June, which is an extension of climate change. So there has to be, I think you will be able to come to Stockholm to speak about your initiative.
COP15 happened in Ivory Coast. I was there for 2 days, and we definitely got the attention of all the 197 nations. One thing I would like to, this is something I'm trying to bring it to everybody's awareness and consciousness is, see, as human beings, based on our nationalities, race, religion, caste, creed, in so many ways we have tried to separate ourselves. But even if people do not understand what is this all-inclusive consciousness or whatever, at least we must understand we all come from the same soil, we eat of the same soil, when we die we go back to the same soil. So I feel soil is a common factor for all of us, no matter what has happened till now, no matter how confrontational somebody is, and conflicts have happened because of that. But it's important that we don't forget we come from the same soil and we go back to the same soil. So using this as a common factor, as a common denominator, I feel there is some possibility of solving situations in our lives, because as generations pass, if we continue the same conflicts, unfortunately, the future generations will suffer. So this Save Soil movement, one thing is it's an ecological movement, but also it would be wonderful if people use it as a unifying factor among people. Disputes will always be there, disagreements will be there, but how we conduct these disputes and disagreements is very important. If we see a common thread among ourselves, probably we will handle it little differently, hopefully we'll handle differently. And it is my wish and my blessing that Palestine should see peace and prosperity. There are many people from Palestine who are with us in our centers, both in India and United States, and it's very unfortunate that they have to be spread out all over the world without being in their own homelands. Hope this will come to some kind of solution, but above all, till that happens, we must make sure our soil is rich and alive, because that could be the most valuable thing in the next few days.
Very good. I think, in the video that I have seen, you called for, soil without organics becomes sand, and sand with organics becomes soil. And I think that is really a very important statement on your side, because this opens the whole research on earth, environment, science, technology to be directed towards deserts.
If I can tell you this, in the last 27 years, we have converted a few 100,000 farmers into what is called as tree-based agriculture and revived soils in southern India. Based on this, we are working in a particular river basin, which is 83,000 square kilometers of land, and 5.2 million farmers live and work here. This is a massive project that we are doing. So looking at the success of that, only the 5 United Nations agencies are partnering with us today. Looking at the success of this, the government of India made a detailed project report in toto as we are doing the project for 13 river basins. And now, just this year, about a month and a half ago, government of India allocated $2.3 billion towards these 13 river basins. These 13 river basins put together will account for 67% of India's land. So if these 13 river basins are revived in the next 8 to 12 years' time, as we have done in one river basin, then in many ways India's soil will be above crest. And I will definitely talk to UNCCD, who are our close partners, to see how these kind of projects can be initiated in Palestine. You can also appeal to them. Ibrahim Thiaw is a very committed person. Right now they are in a convention in Ivory Coast. I was there for 2 days and just came here. So we can definitely take this ahead, and after this is over, we're setting up a panel of 25 scientists who will handhold small nations to fulfill this. We have committed to CARICOM nations in Caribbean region to do this also. Definitely we can engage Palestine in this area, particularly through the UN agencies. I feel in Palestine, considering the political situations, it's best that UN agencies involved rather than a private foundation.
Very good. I mean, we have really all UN agencies are functioning and working in Palestine, UNDP, UNFPA, United Nations, UNRWA. I mean, nearly every UN agency is actually here. And I take the idea that you propose that Palestine will be part of this. I welcome that, and we are ready to engage with this initiative. Whatever needed to engage us, I will be more than happy to do that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your generosity and giving your time for this. I hope to visit you in the near future sometime and spend some time in Palestine with all of you. Thank you very much.
I wish you all the best and keep the good work going. I salute you, your energy and your dedication. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
As-salamu. Bye-bye.
This is what is called as Kuladeva. It responds only to that genetic content. So only those people of that clan go to the temple. A certain set of people have a certain samskara, others have certain samskara. So for them, those skills and that way of life came naturally. Every community, every society has its own samskara, and people either make their lives well or ill based on the samskara also. See, what we are calling as samskara is the collective karma of a society. In this culture, we did a lot of things to maintain samskara. Even now in villages, there are, sometimes violent outbreaks will happen. If marriages happen between people who will mix the genetic, who will kind of make the genetic line fuzzy. This is not blue blood business. They've been maintaining this so that for this clan, for this bloodline, they will have a deity that they have created. It responds only to that genetic content. This is what is called as Kula Devata. It responds only to that genetic content. So only those people of that clan go to the temple, others don't go because it doesn't work for them. So they maintain this genetic map of people, and they will look back 10, 12 generations and say, oh, she belongs to that bloodline, this belongs to… okay, they can marry, this cannot marry, like this they will calculate. Because these are called gotras and stuff, now it is being all trashed as total nonsense. Yes, cruel things have been done in that name, that is true, but there was a very profound understanding, because learning happened this way. When there were no universities, no schools, nothing, this culture transmitted their skills effortlessly for thousands of years because they maintained this samskara. So, let's say for example, there are what is called as acharis. It's a certain caste or a clan. In this, there are goldsmiths, there are carpenters, there are blacksmiths, like this, all those people who are craftsmen. But a goldsmith's girl will not marry a blacksmith's man. Only there they will marry, because it is samskara. See, this may look, oh, how can that be? Why can't somebody, be born in any family, learn this trade? That's different. But it's been found. They've done an experiment with mice. What they did was, they put a cherry blossom smell on some cheese or something. So when the mouse went to bite it, they gave it an electric shock a few times. And you know what? Next 7 generation of mice never went near the cherry blossom smell. Cherry blossom smell means they move away. Because this is samskara, that from parents it is coming just like that. This information transfer is happening all the time. Now we are talking about how trees are sharing things. All this, when we spoke long time ago, they thought it's all ridiculous. Like my great-grandmother would simply look at, sparrows and ants and this eating and simply in tears. And if you say, why are you not eating? She says, I'm already full. And she was full. She was well nourished. Nobody can question that because she lived for 113. So, today they're slowly beginning to talk about it, but still in terms of physical terms. How physically nutrition is going, this is happening, this is being shared, that is being shared, all this. But beyond physical stuff, there is life in which sharing is happening. So they created a very concentrated focus on people so that there is a samskara. A certain set of people have a certain samskara, others have certain samskara. So for them, those skills and that way of life came naturally. All these things got distorted when people started discriminating from one to the other. The goldsmith thinks he's superior to blacksmith, and these problems came later. But the way it was crafted, it's a perfect way to transmit knowledge, skills and variety of ways. But it all gone bad, now it's not relevant, we can't do that anyway. So, what you call a samskara is a social karma. And let's say living in Mumbai, don't you have a certain Mumbai samskara? Isn't it? It has its own. So like this, every community, every society has its own samskara. And people either make their lives well or ill based on the samskara also. To rise above samskara, you need spiritual process. Otherwise, nobody can deny that they've not been influenced by their family, society, whatever kind of religious practices. They may not be doing those practices, but still they're influenced, isn't it? Only one who is strongly on a spiritual process is not influenced by the atmosphere, he rises above that.
We are doing these programs in the prisons in India, in South India and also in the United States. Have you read something about it? Yes. See, prison is in many ways one of the most horrible places to live on the planet. Whatever conveniences, comfort somebody has created is not the point, but somebody locks you from outside, that's a huge thing, that's not a small thing. One will not understand what this is unless you go there. I have spent sufficient time there. It's a different kind of suffering. It's a very, very different kind of suffering. First of all, criminal is a man. Whoever you brand as a criminal is a man who has more longing for life than other people. He wants to live. In his hurry to live, he will trample certain things because of which he becomes a criminal. His longing for life is deeper than other people, that he cannot go in the line like everybody, he wants to jump the line, that's why he becomes a criminal. So when this man is locked up, denied many things, the suffering is very, very different. When we were last time doing a program in Pennsylvania prison, there is a man there who's been there for 30 years. In Pennsylvania state, life is life. there is no remission of terms. He's serving 3 consecutive lifetimes. He's been there for 30 years, he's not yet 50. Just after high school, he got into some trouble and he shot 3 men. And 3 consecutive lifetimes he got. 30 years he's been there, he's very healthy and fit. He's going to live for another 30-40 years and he's going to be right there. He knows that very well. No question of remission and there is no death sentence. Even if he kills another 10 people in the prison, he will get another 10 lifetimes. No death sentence. So this made him so violent from the day he entered the prison. So they put him in a single cell, something like 5.5 by 8 or something like this, of that size. 1 bunker bed and 1 closet, that's all. What he said was, he was all in tears and he said, 30 years of my life, I have never sat down in one place, I am unable to sit. 30 years of my life, I just walked up and down these 8 feet like a wild animal because I could not sit. When I got tired and fell asleep, I fell asleep. Otherwise, I never sat even for a minute. I just walked, paced up and down these 8 feet. He even ate his meals walking. He could not sit down. He said, for the first time now, I'm sitting and I'm sitting joyously. 30 years I spent like a wild animal. Now at last I can sit like a human being. It's not a small thing. You won't understand unless you are there with them. The suffering it's a different kind altogether. So, now from the prisons of India and United States, we have over 2,000 poems written by the inmates. The moment they start meditating, they burst forth into poetry. This prison poetry is going to be published in the next few months. Such wonderful poems they wrote, so touching. Their suffering and their liberation through meditation, they just express this in so many ways. So even for somebody who lives in a situation like that, it is a tool to live joyously. So for you, it will definitely work if you are willing to make yourself fit. I want to say that you live as blissful human beings. It's possible. I know it's possible. If you are willing, you will know it's possible. And it is just that major things have been done. Enormous amount of money is being spent in creating arms and ammunition. Enormous amount of money is being spent in, tobacco and alcohol and pleasures and entertainment and everything. But never before has humanity, except when somebody like Gautama came, the king, the Ashoka, dedicated huge sums of money to spread the meditation in the country. That's why Gautama became popular, because the king took it up. The emperor, Ashoka, took it up and gave him the resources and the people to spread meditation, because he saw this is what needs to happen. But otherwise, most of the time humanity has never invested in spreading tools of joy, inner joy, for themselves and for everybody. People have not invested. Many wonderful yogis have come, many wonderful sages and saints have come, but the necessary support did not come. Gautama was one of the fortunate few that the king gave all his resources, including his family, to completely be dedicated to this path and make it happen for everybody. It's a real tragedy that humanity never invested in seeking joy within themselves. But humanity invested enormously to destroy each other, to kill each other, even today. After all this, still the maximum investment is still going into the arms industry in the world, isn't it? It's so unintelligent. Forget about anything else. It is so unintelligent that we have to invest in that direction, not in well-being. it's time you invest your time, life and your resources to make, the right kind of things happen in the world, isn't it? For yourself and for everybody.
I feel those who live for the nation, those who are willing to die for the nation, must get the maximum empowerment that can happen. The first tool that we have in our hands is our own body, our own mind, our own energy. In terms of developing one's body, one's mind, and above all, keeping one's energy and spirit at the highest possible level, there is an entire system of yoga which can do that. And I feel every soldier who serves this country must benefit from that.
जो यहाँ का एटमॉस्फेयर है, जो यहाँ का माहौल है, यहाँ के माहौल में एक ताजगी और एक सुगंध है। हम चाहे कहीं भी चले जाएं, लेकिन उस वातावरण में एक खुशबू है, और वो खुशबू भी कई तरह की होती है, लेकिन वो खुशबू एक ऐसी है कि जो आदमी को एक अलग सी फीलिंग कराती है अपने हृदय में, और साथ में उस सुगंध में एक शीतलता है।
जहां तक यहाँ के अनुभव का प्रश्न है, तो आखिरी 15 दिनों में मैं कहूंगा कि अंग मर्दना अगर एक संजीवनी के तौर पे हमने सीखा है, क्योंकि अक्सर एक सोल्जर को हमें देखने को मिलता है एज के साथ साथ, खासकर वो जितना विषम परिस्थितियों में रहता है उसकी फिटनेस कहीं ना कहीं सफर करती है। तो स्ट्रक्चर्ड पीटी में एक हमारे जहन में खाका बन जाता है कि यार यहाँ तो चलने के लिए भी ज्यादा जगह नहीं है, बंकर में हो सकता है आपको 4 दिन लगातार बैठना पड़ जाए। तो दिमाग में बात आती है यार कहीं थोड़ा मसल्स भी फ्लेक्स नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन 6x6 के एरिया में और जो बड़ा ही स्ट्रक्चर्ड बना हुआ है कि आप उपयोगा से आरंभ करते हैं और उसके बाद अंगमर्दना पे एक से कठिनाई का स्तर बढ़ता जाता है।
Like a yogi, a soldier also has to learn how to integrate one's body, mind, energy in such a way that being alone is not a struggle. Because in that there is enormous strength, enormous. Because it's a demanding life, it's a lonely life.
कहने को हम पीस में होते हैं, लेकिन पीस में और एम इज टू ट्रेन फॉर वॉर। लेकिन एक समय के साथ साथ जब आप ट्रेनिंग करते रहते हो और परिवार से दूर रहते हो, तो एक मोनोटोनी कहूंगा मैं उसे, स्ट्रेस तो नहीं कहूंगा, तो एक मोनोटोनी आपके रूटीन में सेट होनी शुरू हो जाती है और कहीं ना कहीं वो अनकॉन्शियसली आप पे प्रभाव डालता है। उस मोनोटोनी के कारण आप उतनी वाइब्रेंसी स्वयं के अंदर महसूस नहीं करते। लेकिन इन सूर्य क्रिया और अंग मर्दना से हमने जाना कि शारीरिक पहलू के अलावा इनसे आप मानसिक तौर पे बहुत ही सुदृढ़ होते हो।
Bringing equanimity to the minds of our soldiers and officers is very, very important. India being so steeped in this knowledge of how to maintain your interiority, if our soldiers don't get it, I am very pained. It's very, very important that our forces should know how to be meditative.
बाहर से आया हुआ लड़कों को एक सैनिक बनना इतना आसान नहीं है, क्योंकि उसको बच्चे का जैसे ट्रीट करना पड़ता है, तो एक थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है। लेकिन जब यहाँ से हम सीख के जा रहे हैं, तब उन बच्चों को किस तरह से उनका मोटिवेशन करना है, उनका दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, उनका वो हम अभी समझ सकते हैं। पहले हम समझ नहीं थे, सिर्फ उनको डिसिप्लिन सिखाते थे, बोला ऐसे रहना, ऐसे बोलना, ऐसे जाना, तो यही हम सिखाते थे। अभी यहाँ आने के बाद उनको समझाएंगे, बोला जिंदगी ऐसी भी है।
इससे मैं काफी लाभवंत हुआ हूँ और आने वाले भविष्य में आर्मी भी ज्यादा से ज्यादा स्तर पे जब हम जाएंगे और इनको सिखाएंगे, तो मुझे पक्का विश्वास है, दृढ़ विश्वास है कि इससे सभी लोग जो भी इस कार्यक्रम के तहत तालीम लेंगे वो सभी लाभान्वित होंगे।
We are greatly privileged and honored to have all of you here. I'm sure people in Pakistan don't aspire for anything else, they also aspire for their well-being. It is just that certain forces in every nation behave like they represent every human being in that country, but it is not true.
The political leadership can only set agenda, can only make policy, but the real nation happens depending upon how the business will buzz in this country. Well, this is a rags to riches story, but still consciously remains in rags. How many people can do this? There is no such thing as this is my life and that is your life. This is a living cosmos.
At this time we have of raised tensions, how do you ask people to move forward, how to do things in a way which allows them to find a common ground?
When we invest in problems, problems multiply. It would be wise to invest in solutions. But in a democratic nation, when you take everybody's opinions and emotions and considerations, it's very difficult to move in any one direction. But I feel this wouldn't be a very difficult problem to solve if there is an abstinence from daily violence that's unleashed in the form of terror. The old philosophy of 1,000 cuts is still being executed. When that's going on, it becomes very difficult to even talk about a solution. Aspiring for peace is definitely in everybody's heart, but when it is being declared by the proponents of this violence very clearly, our goals are not geographic. That is, Kashmir is not the goal. Once we liberate Kashmir, we will liberate the rest of India. When these things have been clearly stated, I don't see how you can talk with the same people endlessly peace, because it's ridiculous. So I feel the region has to make efforts to bring an economic prosperity. I think if the rest of the countries show economic prosperity, I'm sure people in Pakistan don't aspire for anything else, they also aspire for their well. It is just that certain forces in every nation behave like they represent every human being in that country, but it is not true. You should see the bonhomie that Indians and Pakistanis have outside the country. When they're outside that region, the political leadership can only set agenda, can only make policy, but the real nation happens depending upon how the business will buzz in this country. Well, I know there are difficulties, I know there are challenges, there are problems of corruption, there are problems of variety of things, roadblocks all over the place, but this is our time. We can talk about glorious past, it doesn't matter. This is our time on this planet. Whether we will make this the greatest time in history of humanity or we will make it the worst time is all in our hands. There are many challenges. There are ecological challenges, there are nourishment challenges, there are organizational challenges, there is investment challenges, but the possibility is so big that these problems look small in terms of what is possible for this nation. India as a nation has a great future because, as I said earlier, without evolving great human beings, there is no great nation. This has been our strength. We have never been a very organized process, but individual genius always unfolded in this country because we did not believe anything. We were always seekers. This is not a religion, this is understanding the intelligence of ignorance, understanding that the phenomena of life is always on full fire if you are in a seeking mode. If you come to your believing mode, you settle down. But when you're in a seeking mode, you're continuously on fire. So this fire we have exhibited for thousands of years, we should not lose this fire because this is where our growth is, this is where our future is.
When we look at Sadhguru riding a bike, flying a plane, playing golf, mentoring CEOs or collaborating with CEOs of the companies, they feel that because योग में तो ऐसा नहीं है. On the other hand, when they see Baba Ramdev, being someone who's discussed and I've been in so many meetings where he is discussed as someone who's a strategic mind of how marketing should be done in today's India, and he's found an innovative way of doing it. And there is, of course, his company is a case study. Is there a contradiction at all, or there is none between this yoga and bhog?
Certain people think either yoga or the spiritual process or spirituality is some kind of a disability. That's their understanding, unfortunately. If spirituality is a disability, we should ban it immediately. Why practice a disability? Spirituality is a way of empowering yourself in such a way that we can enhance life to a point where other people will think it's superhuman. Because as life we have only two ingredients. There is time and there is energy. It is only the energy we can manage. By accumulations, your life is not enhanced. Maybe in other people's eyes you're enhanced. As a life you are no way enhanced. Only by enhancing your energy, only by having mastery over this, do you have access and purchase into this life. Because time is not in your hands, it's just rolling away for everybody. Wherever I go, people are asking this question, a yogi is doing business, is it all right? Well, this is a rags to riches story, but still consciously remains in rags. How many people can do this? Huh? It's a total rags to riches story, but consciously remains in rags. That's not a simple story. We're missing the whole point. Sannyas means indiscriminate passion towards everything, but dispassion towards myself. If you have dispassion towards everybody, I think that's a crime.
My question is, how do I see or understand Adiyogi as a Swayambhu, which is self-born, and Aja as unborn, since both are contradictory? Also, he is referred as limitless and nothingness. So can you please state your opinion?
So Adiyogi literally means the first yogi. A yogi means who consciously obliterated all boundaries around him. This is my body, that's your body. This is my mind, that's your mind. But I want you to understand, there is no such thing as this is my life and that is your life. This is a living cosmos. If you identify with the fundamental life process, it's not here, it's just happening all over the place. So in that sense, we are saying he is limitless, because he is not sitting there as a body, nor is he sitting there as a psychological structure. Both these things are outside influences on you. About him being a Swayambhu, it means that he is self-made, everything that he is. See, today you're sitting here, you may not be conscious, but your father, mother, your grandparents and their grandparents and their grandparents, if you go 100,000 generations, all of them are in some way living through you. What you call as myself right now is not you. It is a consequence of a huge amalgamation of memory. A little bit you have added your character to it, but rest of it is all come to you from somewhere else. So when we say a Swayambhu, because he is no way using his ancestry, no way using the faculties or the memories of the body, he has placed himself above that. He is completely himself, not a consequence of history, not a consequence of genetics, but he's all by himself. So we call him, he's totally self-made, or he's a Swayambhu.
What you just watched wasn't just a video, it was a presence exercise. If you stayed until now, it shows something in you is more awake. Comment on what stayed with you, what message hit you hardest, and share this with someone who also values this kind of conversation. Thanks, a big hug, and see you in the next video.